To do it.
Big Crave presents Afterglow Sundays on the current from Crossfade Commons. Verse, voice, and witness. Another Stays In production. Peace and blessings. What is this? Afterglow Sundays. I am your host, Big Crave, the Lyrical Exodus, along with my two co-hosts, Miss Southern Soul and Miss Lady, who is in the background working things for us today. I'd like to welcome you to this. What is this? Crossfade Commons, Afterglow Sundays. This is where your voice is your witness and it is your verse. We welcome you this Sunday. We welcome you this day. We pray your day is full of abundance and knowing. How are you today, Southern Soul? How you doing?
I am blessed and highly flavored.
Oh,
You.
yes. Looking sharp today, looking bubbly today. We are definitely in a good place today. I want to re-emphasize to you that we are here every Sunday, 12 noon Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central on the Stays In Verse on your YouTube channel. Please stay tuned for some wonderful things that Stays In Verse and Crossfade Commons. Also, we are definitely in the light for making some changes. Some wonderful new things are coming this way. So you stay tuned for it. Today's topic is legends. And we want to dive into this thing. Everyone has a legend in their life. Everyone has been impacted by a legend. Everyone has been fulfilled by legendary moves by individual souls. But what happens when the legends are gone? What happens when an icon or an ideology fades? What do we do as a culture? What do we do as a people? How do we let that live on? And today we're going to kind of walk down this. It's not a narrow road. It's kind of a wide road. But we want to actually put in perspective what we can do with the continuation of things that are best for our culture, best for our knowing, best for our enlightenment. And oftentimes we do get bogged down by them not being around or, us losing them. So today we want to capture this in a thing. We have some legends that have passed away. And I just use, for example, the great Black Ice, who was a phenomenal soul in poetry. And we're just using this as a baseline.
Yeah.
He will be sorely missed, and the contributions that he's done to poetry, the contributions that he's given to this thing of ours, was very immaculate. And so we definitely celebrate him, but also great icons like W.E.B. Du Bois, Mary McLeod Bethune. I could go on and on and on. But the general seed or the DNA of where we're going to discuss today is what do we do? Every generation loses legends, or it loses its culture and great voices. The question becomes whether a culture is preserved by the value of it, or if it's preserved by, I'm trying to think of my words, use my words, how the institutions are. Are we using wise constructs? Are we using wise ideas to keep it moving forward? So the first question is, if we build our culture around these personalities, right? So, okay, if we build our personalities around them, how do you think that affects us in moving forward? Like, you can give your own example, but the question is, how do we culturally build itself back when we lose these personalities, in your opinion?
How do we build them back? Well, first I would have to look into what actually makes a person a legend.
That's good.
Um, and what it takes, and what kind of presence that actually adds to a
Mm-hmm.
community. Like Black Ice, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
he became a legend in poetry because he was the first spoken word poet to actually be signed to a major hip hop record label, which was
Mm-hmm.
Death Jam.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I remember that.
And that opened up the TV mainstream and so much more for poets to even be seen and considered equal with poetry and with music and rap and hip hop and all of that, because we weren't even considered on the same playing field.
Mm-hmm.
So things of that nature. So you have to look at what makes a person a legend. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I think where we go once we lose one legend, and because we losing so many, is who's going to be able to step up
Oh yeah,
to be
yeah,
the next legend, because it
yeah.
has to continue. It You have to be a pioneer, and it has to continue on and on. Yes, that legend may be gone physically, but their work and stuff is going to forever be present. It's forever going to be talked about. So, what is it in you or the next person that comes along that's going to leave your mark, that is going to be continued to talk
Mhm.
about throughout history, throughout time?
Yeah,
So,
and that's really important. Like we look at certain things and we say, for our community, let's say for our community. I'm saying for all communities because this is we touch everything, but for the culture as we know it,
mm,
it raises these questions. It teaches like them leaving or them being gone. Who teaches the history now, or who teaches the idea of it not being commercialized? This I'll say commercialized because from history we know, especially in culture, especially in African American culture, or everything's kind of like changed a little bit.
yeah,
Like you see commercials now. You know, back in the days, I'm just using this for example. Ain't no stopping us now. You know, everybody knows that song, but now you'll see it in a cleaning commercial. You know what I'm saying? You'll see that same jingle in a cleaning commercial. But when it came out, the original song was a nice disco soul kind of hit.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying? But you would never think that those legends, now not being here, their song would be used for that. So, sort of things get sort of commercialized in that. But how do we prepare ourselves as successors? And here's where I want to segue to. We learn what we learn from culture by practicing it. So as myself and you are, we're poets, we're curators, we're fathers, we're mothers, we're grandparents. Some are not, but some soon to be grandparents. Um, and it often reflects the concern of saying, where's the character of this thing in culture with legends? How was their character? How can your character be improved by living up to certain things? Um, what we're doing now can affect the future. What we're doing right now can affect the future. We are very informative people. We live off information. And back then, or I'll say maybe 5 years ago, the information wasn't as readily available as it is now to say, look up a legend or look up someone who's gone. You know what I'm saying? AK. So how does the culture survive um, when, how does the culture survive without us being faithful stewards of that knowledge and what's entrusted in us to keep it moving forward? Let's, for example, I'll give you this one, for example.
okay,
We know that, say, Mary McLeod Bethune, or
so,
we could say Madam C.J. Walker, right? She's
yeah,
no longer here. She's no longer here. But her legendary status of refining an item that was used by culture, say the straightening comb, that goes on and it moves forward, and it gives an ideology about innovation and all those things. But now someone has improved on this process. You might not have to use a straightening comb now,
Yeah.
but without that foundation, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We wouldn't have nothing to live on. So what are your ideas about living the memory of it out? Like, how can we live the memory of it out? You know, and when I say by memory, I'm saying by how do we adapt to change with that? Because I mean, I can call my father a legend to me. My
Yeah.
father was a legend to me. So I find myself doing certain things that he does. My wife will tell you, I do certain things now. You know, I might sit there and I might say, I'm gonna not do this way or something like that. And I've taken these patterns and these habits from him. But the legendary status of him inside my psyche, inside my knowing, you know, it lives on. And I say this, he lives vicariously through me. So how do we steward that grace? How do we steward that knowledge, AK? How do we do that?
Well, I think the very first thing we have to do is slow down enough
Come
to
on.
be able to recognize and not be so impatient to recognize
Mm,
um that there's still some out here, because we move so fast now. We're it's like we're popcorning and microwaving everything,
woo, that's
that
good.
we overlook a lot of people in things that are truly legendary.
Mm,
So
mm,
we have to start being more patient and slow down enough to even recognize the ones that are actually around us.
mm.
I think that's highly important.
Yeah. And
You
that
know,
wisdom.
don't wait till they pass away and then be like, oh man.
Yes, yes. Don't wait.
And
Don't wait.
that's been a lot of the things is we wait till people are gone to even recognize their status.
Mm,
You
that
know.
is so true. So true. I think so much wisdom now comes from information. And like I said before,
Mhm.
that wisdom, you know, seems like modern society now uh, has more information than any civilized history, any kind of
Yeah.
civilized history. Now we got more information now than we've had before. But we can, you know, we got, like you say, the microwave thing. We can download anything we want to look
Yeah.
at. We can do it, but you know, legends in the community. I want to move towards this. Legends in the community. Um, I can remember. I can remember being with my godmother, and I could say this to me because she was a legend. She went to Bethune Cookman. She was an educator. She was one of the uh, women in the old army. She served overseas in the telecommunications corps. And she was one of the first ones to tell me something. She would use the shortest time. Like she might take 5 minutes to explain what 20 years of me reading in a history book would say. You know what I'm saying? Like she took 5 minutes to tell me, well, this is what this is. And what's so funny about it? I went to this weekend. I had a performance in Selma, Alabama.
Okay.
Very historic place.
Yeah.
Very historic. The Pettus Bridge. I was on the highway that our great Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Walked from Selma to Montgomery. And that historic area for me, it really, you can really feel the cultural history of that. And we were at this place. We were at this place that had all the great icons in it, from Haile Selassie to, you know, I'm just going down the line. They're still here, but I mean, he's gone. But you know, they had Medgar Evers. Oh
Mhm.
my God, they had things on Malcolm X. They
Mhm.
had things on I can't think of the congressman name that passed, the congressman's name from there. He had passed. Um, and they had so much history in there. And as I begin to read some of these narratives, right, I did not know how challenging it was just for the information back then, just for that information, just to get it out. They used to have a newsletter. Now, this is crazy. I'm giving you something. They
Yeah.
had a newsletter that was passed around. And I was in the place where historically they used to make this newsletter.
Oh wow.
So all these newsletters were passed on, like this event will happen, this, and this. And what they did, they served themselves, they served community. So some of the
Mhm.
unseen legends who are now gone, I'm going to say, has left such a mark on us culturally that we can't ignore that.
Yeah.
We would be unwise, very unwise as a people to ignore that. And I think about what that does to the mental, what that does to our psyche. Um, when it disappears without disciples, that's what I want to say. When it
Mm,
disappears without us being disciples, man,
yeah.
of that information, then their whole life as legends is like pushed away. If we
Mhm.
can't disciple that, you know what I'm saying? If we can't move forward through certain things, we have so many issues in our life. I am one to say we all go through things, you know. But how do we learn? And in those things that we go to, it makes us legendary. Um,
And you know what? What
yes,
you said something very important is those things get lost, and this is why you got
mm,
your griots, and this is why you got your storytellers and
right.
your documentaries,
Uh-huh.
not just because you got to have somebody that's going to record everything so that
Facts.
it can be taught to future generations. Because that information you just gave, that important information you just gave,
Mm-hmm.
somewhere, down the line, people don't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that they don't know that? Because
Mm-hmm.
people aren't telling these stories anymore.
Yeah, they're not telling them. I think about identity in that. You
Hmm.
know, we can't negotiate our identity. We can't. I'm talking to everybody, white, green, yellow, brown. We
Yeah,
can't. Your identity is very important to you as a culture. And I love to reach all people. I'm not just
yeah,
a person who, you know, I'm not colorblind to truth. But you know, community also gives us um time to remember where people came from. Community gives us access to tell a story, to tell where they are, to tell who they are. Culture becomes a memory.
yeah.
Culture becomes something that we can manage. Culture becomes who we are, you know? Um,
And when you're missing part of that culture,
yeah.
you're missing part of your identity.
Oh man, you're
Like
missing it.
myself, I'm missing a huge chunk of my identity
Hmm.
because I don't know that much about my Asian side.
Hmm. Hmm. Talk
So when
about that
people,
for a minute. Talk about that for a
ah, it's hard
minute.
because I know I have that Asian side, but I can't tell you where my roots actually lie other than where I was born, which is in Seoul, Korea.
Hmm.
I can tell you I was, because of my last name, I'm part of the Kim clan, but which
Yes.
part, um, who are my people? I don't know. And have I tried to look it up? Yes. So there's no way for me to pull that information up anymore because all of the
Mm.
documentary that I have,
Mm.
it's useless now
Mm.
because
It's
the
interesting.
orphanage where I was adopted no longer exists. The actual judge who signed my paperwork no longer exists. He's passed. I have looked up so much and I get stuck at certain points that
Hmm.
I hit a brick wall. So it's like I have no choice but to let that side go. But here I am at 50 and I still feel like I'm only half of me.
Yeah, that's interesting. And you know what? That culture without memory. Ooh, culture without memory or trying to remember or someone trying to remember. I do pray that you definitely search that out some more and get some answers there because it's a rich culture. Whether or not it's from Korea, whether it's not from, it's a rich culture. I'm
Yeah,
here to tell you, I served, you know, so I know there's a very rich culture. Um, you know, you think about fathers. Wow, like if the father goes, you know, some fathers are legends to children, their sons or daughters.
yeah,
What happens when they get erased from history, or you know something gets erased? Then something else becomes a father, and we see that dynamic. We see it in the gang culture. We see it in street culture. We see it in, a lot of things. We see it by mothers being gone. Somebody else will mother if that mother is gone. So
Mhm.
the psychological, I'm trying to use the correct word, but the psychological impact on that is profound.
Yeah.
And you're saying, and I got what you're saying. You're saying now, I can't even find that, but there must be a way. There must be a way where we can dig into that, and that's going to be something where we definitely do it. I've recently found out, um, there are a lot of Native American legends and culture
Mhm.
in my family. I just recently find this out that it starts with the Gullah Geechee people, also with the Waccamaw tribe in South Carolina. My roots, my father's mother's roots, are Waccamaw Indian.
Yeah.
And also my mother's roots are Tuscarora Indian from North Carolina. And so
Mm.
I'm finding out that this culture of legends, but I can remember, and to segue back into it, I can remember them actually sharing certain things, sharing certain pictures, sharing
Mhm.
certain letters and things. And I really just say, yeah, she wrote this letter, this, and they have it on the wall, Next to you go to old people's house, they might have a
Mhm.
shoe, they might have a horseshoe over the thing, but they have certain little pictures. And up until me be recalling things, those pictures were definitely icons and they had a story. But if I could honestly look and say I can't tell you about them because I really never paid it that much attention up, up until
Yeah.
now. But we don't want to erase our heroes. Like, those people, in your life, they were heroes.
Yeah.
They were heroes. And I'm not saying it in a sense to where we can just put it in a general character category, but they were heroes for what they done. Like you say, you're from an orphanage. Someone takes time and it builds culture, and those icons, those people built that. You know what I'm saying? For reasons such as that. So you have a rich history. Um, the pattern of this history that we have through our legends, um, it was often traumatic too,
Yeah.
very traumatic. I can think, like I said, I was just in Selma. I can think about the civil rights movement, like what these people went through. I was looking at, man, how the, Lord have mercy. So many police. I mean, police presence was so crazy back then, and people were just standing there, you
Mhm.
know. Um, they were just standing around, kind of like watching. And then as you went down the road, there were certain points, like you can look along the side of the road. At this point, he stopped and said such and such and such, and it's actually on the road itself.
Yeah.
I think it's 80, Highway 80 in Selma. I think it's
Nice.
west from Montgomery. So it's a Highway 80, and that, I mean, I
Yeah.
was just looking at these things. They have certain little monuments and certain little, things along the side of the road. You can look, oh wow, that was that, that was that. But then when you get to the cultural center, that little center where we was at, it shows each and every one and what they went through, how they got, oh my God, the crowds, the rioting, the things that were at them. Woo, Lord have mercy, I tell you. It was something to think about. Um, let me move to
Mm.
something else. you know, legends. Now, this is gonna sound weird to you. I know it's gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna say this: legends were once apprentices. So, and I'm using this. I'm using this while my mind is thinking. I'm like I'm going. This is so great because my mind is working here. You think about once it was a prince. Think about Muhammad Ali for a minute.
Okay.
Just I'll use that. Everybody knows Muhammad Ali. If you don't know who Muhammad Ali was and you're kind of young, please look that up. Eddie Murphy, uh,
Mm-hmm.
James Baldwin. Oh God, I'm trying to think. Maya Angelou. These people were once apprentices and did not know one thing about their craft. Y'all take a second to marinate on
Yeah.
that. No dead space, but take a second to think about the great Muhammad Ali was once an apprentice. Didn't know
Mm-hmm.
nothing about boxing, didn't know nothing about holding his hands, didn't know anything, but yet he became one of the most greatest pugilists. I'm gonna use the correct word It's boxing,
Yeah.
but it's pugilists in the world from that. And I think that we often lose the small steps. We often don't see this. Someone right now that is watching this cast, this whether you watch it tomorrow, next week, or you're live with us now. You once started in something as an apprentice. You watched yourself grow into certain things. And then as you grow in those certain things, you become more articulate, you become more knowledgeable, you become more adaptable, you become more wise in who you are and what you're doing. And that's an important factor. Um, like Martin Luther King Jr., who stood on the foundation before him. He
Yeah.
wanted to say, look, man, I want to make change by using nonviolence. And who was that before him? Gandhi. Gandhi said, listen, I'm gonna start a whole revolution without using any violence. And that's few and far between nowadays. You got to think about it. What every generation inherits. What have we inherited from our legends? I'm going to ask you this. Does the culture forget itself, AK, you think?
I do. I do.
Expound how you think it forgets itself.
Um, because if they're not continuing to tell those stories, then it's not being integrated into the ones coming up.
Mm,
So let me
mm,
I'm
mm,
not
mm,
gonna say it forgets itself.
mm,
I'll say it gets lost in transition
mm,
from one generation to the next. So that's why it's important that we don't rely on school systems to teach us certain things.
oh, wow.
We
That's good.
have to, because as we
That's good.
see in, especially this year and last year, how they will alter things
Mm-hmm.
to fit a certain narrative and leave out so many facts. So it's important that we teach our own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
I think that a lot of times we get so busy that we don't think about that, because we're so busy trying to live, that we're so busy trying to survive, that we're so busy dealing with our own things that we don't think to teach our little ones coming up
Mm-hmm.
these things about who they are, what's part of our culture, what's not a part of our culture, and so it gets lost from generation to generation until nobody knows, until somebody does something on the internet and they see it, but then
Oh, wow, that's
you
good.
have to
That's good.
yeah. And that I have looked up so many things that I've come across on the internet, and here's the problem with that: some of the things that I've looked up are true, but there's
Mm-hmm.
so many things that have come up that
Mm-hmm.
they have embellished and added to it,
Mm-hmm.
because and that's why it's important to do your own research
Yes, yes, yes. Do your own research.
and don't just rely on chat gpt.
Facts.
Do more. I'm not saying that chat's not giving you all correct information or all wrong information, but do deeper dives. So if chat gives you something after you looked it up, take it somewhere else and look it up even more until you get down to the truth of it.
Mm-hmm. Like I can usually say this, like the first, I don't know, I'm gonna tell my age, but the the first AI for me was the Cyclopedia Britannica for me, using the
Yeah.
Dewey Decimal System in the library. That was my AI. That was my
I
legend.
still have a whole set
I,
of
I was
those
I
at
was
the
a
house.
super. Let me tell you something. That was legendary for me because I could look up something in that. Oh my God! I used to love to go to the library. I used to love it. I used to love it. And you said something important about like when people go to social media or something like that. I think sometimes people do things for fame and don't understand that there's a difference between fame and legacy. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm gonna let that smoke a minute.
Yeah.
There's a difference between fame and legacy. Fame might ask
There
you,
is.
how many people know me? Who knows me? I can do this trend, or I can do who knows me for that. But legacy says, listen, man, how many people can I impact?
That part.
How many people can I impact? When they see Big Crave later on, when they see the lyrical exes later, how many people did I impact? How many people did I really influence? Was my life, is my life going to continue to where my legacy is going to impact somebody? I don't care about the fame. I've never been one for fame. I've never been one for fame.
Because you inherited something from that legend.
Yes.
Somebody famous we just know about.
Yeah.
They
Fact.
haven't affected me. They in any shape, form, or fashion. Yeah, I
Mm,
might miss them on television, but that's it.
mm.
That's it.
That's something. That's something deep.
They just had a presence. That's it. But what did
that's
they do?
that's deep.
Like
I,
Bernie Mac. Bernie Mac was more than just a presence on television. He
yeah.
was a pioneer in comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and same thing with who Maya Angelou. Maya Angelou
Mm-hmm.
did more than just poetry. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I'm saying? She left an impact,
Mm-hmm.
as you
I,
said. You know what I'm
I,
saying?
she left something that was so powerful. I still love her
Yeah,
work today. James Baldwin also. I love his
yeah.
work.
James Baldwin,
And I'm gonna tell you something
Angela
else too.
Davis. I mean, there's so many
I
that
I
we
can
have that. Yeah.
I can remember in school reading Walden Pond and
Hmm.
Henry David Thoreau. Okay, so
Hmm.
I can remember reading Edgar Allan Poe. I can
Yeah.
remember reading Dumas. I can remember reading these things in school and like saying, what was it like probably to write? These people were legends. All of them are legends now.
Hmm.
Listen now. And they are gone.
Yeah.
But the articulate flow of the wordplay, how Edgar Allan Poe. Now, listen, I'm going to say something. Disclaimer here. He had an issue. Okay, he had an issue. He had an addiction. I learned that later. I learned that they didn't teach us that in school, but
Of
I
course not.
learned that later. That he had an addiction. I think he was some kind of narcotic, morphine or something. He was addicted to. But his vivid writing, the way he was immaculate with his words. Oh my God, it
Yeah.
just done something to me. And and I think now that we're in a phase with social media that when people become what feel they become legendary,
Hmm.
people begin to worship that. And that's not good. And the reason why I say now, yeah, I'm giving my opinion on this. I'm just, this is just my voice, and I'm witnessing my own voice. So y'all stay with me for a minute. But they're very dangerous when we worship it. But watch this. When we study it, we become powerful. So if I don't study, listen, if I don't study, I've read this book called The Art of War or The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I've read that book. Um, I've read certain books by certain authors, and I've become a student of studying how people think. So, for example, Muhammad Ali, before he would fight, before he would train for a fight, he would actually go somewhere out in the woods and just chop wood. Just chop wood. He needed to be with nature. But he says, as he learned to chop wood, this is true, y'all look it up. As he learned to begin to chop wood, he learned rhythm. He learned endurance, and he always used to say the ancestors. He said the ancestors was talked to because they hung them from trees. So he was chopping those trees down, preparing for a
Hmm.
fight. But he was getting a download. He was getting a spiritual download on this thing. But when we study that, we do it. There's also you got biblical terms too. You're like Moses died. Who took up after Moses? Joshua,
Yeah.
legendary. Joshua rises. Who rises after Joshua? Another prophet, another person, another person. So I think we have to be very, very, very impactful on how we use the informations of what our legends left or for us to do. Uh, I want to say um, children. I want to go to children now. I don't have a child's mind, so I can't think in a childlike mind, but I don't want to exclude them. the bombardment that they have from things that would be legendary. How do we protect our kids from false legends? Let's say, you know what I'm saying? How do
Yeah.
we protect our kids from in our neighborhoods, in our schools? Um, I know the children watch us. I know our children watch us. They watch us so much. I have a story that's so powerful. I met two powerful young kings um, that belonged to a brother, and his these two kings were so knowledgeable in knowing that they were young men.
Hmm.
Now, I have to say this: they knew they were young men. They knew they were young. They knew they were kids, but they knew they were young men, and how they conducted themselves and how they actually conducted themselves. And I was sitting playing chess with this young man. I was at the venue and I was playing chess with this young, kind of waiting for the show, kind of to get going. And he told me something very impactful. The short time he asked me a question, he says, and this is so powerful about legendary status. We're talking about legends.
Yeah.
Um, he said to me, he says, "How long have I known you?" And I said, "Well, it was maybe less than 24 hours, maybe 18 hours. I knew that.
Hmm.
You know, I met him late on one night, and then we kind of spent the day together talking and kind of reminiscing, playing games, looking at TV or whatever. And he says, "Man, he says, you have become like a father figure that quick."
Wow.
And I sat back for a minute
Mm.
and I contemplated what he said. I
Yeah.
didn't notice. I didn't really know this young man. I didn't know this young man. I think he was maybe 15 or 16 years old, 15 or 16. And he watched everything I done. He watched me practice. He watched me go through, what I'm saying, I call it mummization. Well, mumbleization. So I'm mumbling over a piece or I'm mumbling in my head. He asked me what I was doing. And I said, I'm going over this piece in my head. He said, well, how do you do that? Now I begin to go start the process. And I saw his eyes. I saw his wisdom. I saw his learning. I saw his soil become enriched just through information. And the answer is always the same with this. When you don't seek fame, when you don't seek self gratification, and I'm using that word in quotes, then we begin to seed fertile soil. We begin to seed things. And like I was going from earlier, stewarding things. How are we stewarding? So to this man, I'm just saying, this young man, it's just my opinion. He will never be the same. He shook my hand. I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to him because I had to leave very, very early. And I didn't get a chance to say goodbye. But just how he watched what I was doing, how he performed, and he also performed also. It was beyond his years. It was like he had been doing this for years. It like he had been just actually speaking. He done a little short poem, but he actually was speaking. And every generation asks this question. Every generation asks, where are the legends? Where are the people who are there to impact? Where are these people now? And like we said, this is the thing, where the legends at? They're gone. Most of them are gone. And what do we leave?
Yeah.
How are we making students? How are we making disciples? How are we making this thing? I look at a character thing and I have to be transparent. I have to be very mindful of how I conduct myself. I have to be very mindful about seeking faithfulness in what I do. You know, um, culture preserves truth. You know what I'm saying? AK, like culture just it preserves the truth.
Yeah.
And how I determine what that truth is how I give it out. You know what I'm saying? And
Hmm.
so I'm gonna ask you this. What difference have you found out now later on in life as you mature, as you grow wiser, as you grow older, what true legendary stuff is? Like, how do you know that? Like, I can answer it, but I'm asking you for the sake of the conversation. How do you know what's legendary? How do you know what that is? Like I said, the kids are watching us. People are watching us. The
Yeah.
world watches us. We see what's going on in the world. We see what's going on. My wife and I were talking. I think she was mentioning something this morning about seeds, like
Hmm.
the simplest thing, seeds. You know what's going on with seeds, like what they're doing and everything. I think this lady also had mentioned something about it too. You know, how are we preserving the most simple, smallest, powerful things? What are we doing with that? Okay.
Um, I think that goes into looking at and I hate to say that there's different levels, because you can't put a level of worth on a person.
Oh
But
wow, yeah, come on,
you
yeah,
have to
you walk
look
right
at,
into that one.
you have your historical legends,
Yeah.
right? Your community legends, your neighborhood legends, your family legends, and I think where we have to look at is what is it that's going to be carried through after they've gone,
Mm,
right?
mm,
What impact did they have on the world? What impact did they have on a community? What impact did they have on a family? Like, for instance, my father, right?
mm-hmm.
He, I
Excuse me.
can say he was a legend in our community. He
Mm-hmm.
was the first deacon of one of the main deacons of our church. He not only was a deacon of the church and a man of God, but he was the president of the NAACP. He
Mm.
worked with um, Section 8 housing to make sure people, and he went above and beyond for people in the community. People could walk up to him and give him a problem, and he was going to do his damnedest to try to help you. He tried to make sure he got information to people. He made sure that um, each month, this is back in the day when some of you gonna know what this is, some of you won't. Commodities were given out, like the blocks of cheese and the,
I can remember that. I
yeah,
can remember
the
that.
the the, the powdered milk. And so he made sure that,
Yeah.
and then I grew up helping him put those things together, and would always take a block of cheese home and sit there like a fat kid in the middle of the floor eating a block of cheese. That's another story. But this is what he made sure he gave back to his community because it meant so much to him, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So I have people today, and he's been gone 30 years, 31 years now, who will walk up to me and be like, yo, I never will forget the conversation I had with your dad. And he was telling me that I needed to do this, and this. And if I did these things, that this, and this would happen. And you know what? I listened. And guess what? This is why I'm here where I am today in my job or education or whatever. I have people who still walk up to me and
Mm.
will bring up my dad and the interaction they had with him and the impact he had over them. For me, that's a legend in the community, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
That's
he
real.
left an impact behind, and he's been gone 30 plus years, and they're still impacted by
Still.
what he helped them achieve or given them or assisted them with something. So that's what we have to look at now,
I love the way you say
because
it.
we have living legends that are still here,
Mm-hmm. Facts.
who are still out here doing things like uh uh I forget where he's from right now because I'm trying to think too hard, but there's he goes by 100 suits on Instagram.
Yes, I'm aware of this man. Yes. Yes.
And I know his name, and he gonna kill me
Yeah.
later, but
Yeah.
I
I know what
can't
you're
think
talking about.
right
I
now
can't
because
think
I'm
of it right
trying to
now
think.
neither.
But
Shout out to that brother. Definitely.
he
Give him
does
props.
so much for his community,
Yes.
passing
Yes, he
out
does.
suits to brothers
Yeah. To
to
young
get
men.
jobs,
Yes.
to build in his community and what he gives back to his community. Like, that's an impact that his community will forever feel.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So you have those people who are out here actually doing things.
Right.
So my question would be for anybody watching, what impact do you have on your family? What impact do you have on your community? What impact are you having in the world?
That's
Because
good.
when you've gone,
That's good.
Are they just going to be talking about, oh, I remember when such and such got drunk at the party and was falling all over? Or are they going to actually be talking about something that means something?
Means something. Yes.
And I'm not saying those memories don't mean anything, but
Right.
they're just memories. Are we leaving more behind than just
Are we?
memory?
Yeah. Yeah. Man, you know, I think about like when all of this is done, when all the legends are gone, and we're not
Mm-hmm.
talking about just forever. We're using this in a language to make it relevant, guys.
Yeah.
But you know, when the legends are gone, culture loses more.
Yeah.
It loses a lot more. It's recognizable than faces. It loses more than faces. It loses more than living sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like we still gotta live, we still gotta move forward, we still gotta go on. I think of it like this. Grandma and grandpa be gone, right? Well,
Yeah.
they preserve the history, right? Legends and family, grandmas, grandpa.
Mm-hmm.
Let me think of something else. Elders
Mm-hmm.
in the community, when they're
Mm-hmm.
gone, that's the wisdom. Uh, Myself, a veteran, all those veterans that were before me,
Mm-hmm.
the sacrifice, you know, the honor, the duty. I'm serious about that. The honor, the duty, what they did.
Yeah.
That's legendary to me.
Yeah.
You know, preserving it now, you know, I have a different opinion about things, but you know, I'll keep that to myself. But you know, how does that work now? How do you carry that thing? How do you carry that banner still? You know, um, spiritual leaders, spiritual leaders. Um, they preserve their idea of faith. I'll just use that. Their idea of faith, their ideal of doctrine. They preserve that. They keep moving on. And we think about people like artists, like we were talking earlier about Black Ice, you know, artists, people that produce things, you know, people's joys, people's sorrows, people's identity in it, people's movement,
Yeah.
their flow, you know, how is that preserved? I think nowadays, and I'm being transparent. I think nowadays that you know, if we're not wise about things, we assert crazy kind of opinions and about what we think it should be,
Yeah.
and we should never dictate. We should never let negative things dictate our culture. We should never do that. If we live through anything as a people, we've seen all the negative.
Definitely have seen the negative.
Those patterns and those behaviors don't serve us. And I'm saying this as a nation. I'm saying this as a country. I'm saying this as a worldwide. Like we see what don't work. We see it every day. What don't work. You look at it on live TV of what's not working.
Yeah.
And that's legendary in itself. As you know, as far as the narrative of that ain't working. And you have to be some kind of off to not look and see that whatever your ideology is, you see that's not working.
Yeah.
You see, I don't care what no one says, you see it's not working. You might not like that opinion, but it's the truth. And all I'm giving is the truth. You know, I don't know why that we don't honor our legends by learning. I don't know why we don't honor the history by learning. You know, history is legendary. History tells a different story sometimes. It tells the same story, but it tells a different story. You know, how do we live through that? Becoming an example. You know, every elder person was a younger person.
Yeah.
Every younger person grew to be an elder. So those things are so interwoven and so I can remember I think I was talking to who was I talking to? I can't think of her name, but it's the center in Selma. And she was saying to me that they were not allowed, listen to this, they were not allowed not to know this history.
Yeah.
Her family, she was just talking about her family. They were not allowed, listen to me, to know this history. And I was like, and she said, well, she said on Wednesdays, I think it was, like they would have something called a Bible study, but it wasn't called Bible study. I don't know what she said. I learned so much. This conversation is really cool because we was asking, me and the AK were talking, And we were like, we come up with content, we come up with what we do, what we're going to talk about. And
Mm-hmm.
all of this fits and segues right in. And she said, we were not allowed to not know the history. She said,
Same.
we were not allowed. And this lady was walking barefoot. She was barefoot in her place. She was very, very, I mean, she was so ancestral. You know what I mean? Like she
Yeah.
had an ancestral aura about her. And she was saying that, you know, we don't listen anymore. And I was like, phew.
Mm-hmm.
And she got, I think we got disturbed. I think I had to go take a photo shoot or something after that. But she said, we don't listen anymore, brother. I said, huh? And I was like ready to absorb all this. She said, we're not listening. She said, the earth is talking. This is what she said. She
And that's
said, the
true.
earth is talking. She said, the sky is talking. She says, the water is talking. She says, the birds, the animals, everything is speaking loud. And she said, we can't hear nothing. And I said, whoa, man, what is that? So, today we kind of delved into what it is, being legendary, what legends are.
Mm-hmm.
But, to go ahead, you got a point, sweetie?
I just I didn't. You said listening, and I just wanted to point out those that are
Come on.
here listening and adding to the conversation in the chat. Thank
Mm.
you, thank
Thank
you.
you too. Thank you, guys. Appreciate
Because we definitely are seeing that Alexandria, the Perfect 10. I'm just gonna say Thomas because I can't pronounce.
you.
I'm not trying to remix anything today, so
That
I
we
just want to
say you
thank
ain't
y'all
remixing no names
because
today.
y'all
Yeah.
have definitely been making some good discussion in the chats, and I
Thank you.
apologize I didn't acknowledge this earlier, but I just want
Thank
to
you,
say thank
guys.
y'all for listening.
Yeah, we
But go
appreciate
ahead,
you.
Crave. That's all I
But
wanted.
I'm gonna, we're breaking it down. We got a couple of minutes left here, but I just want to leave this final thing. And I want to leave this in there. How listen to this, how uh culture endures.
Hmm.
It's not because the legends die. And I'm just paraphrasing what I got in my head, but it's because the wisdom, the experience, the opportunities, the wisdom will always live through the people that they influence. Oh man, the, the people that you influence is the gift.
Yeah.
It will always be the gift. It will always be the gift who you influence.
Hmm.
There's two spectrums to it. We know what it is. Some are influenced in the negative, some are influenced in the positive. But those gifts of influence makes it powerful. And I urge all of you to use your voice to learn your what legends or what legendary status really is. Learn what that really is. And then apply some principles if they apply to you. If something resonates you, if something resonates to you of this podcast today, later on tomorrow, if you go back and watch it, what has impacted you? What has moved you forward? My final thought is this. Um, our love for each other has to definitely improve. Our love for life has to improve. Our love for simple things, common sense, uh, knowing who you are, knowing it, keeping your mind and your mental health in good shape. Those things are very important to your legacy.
They
Okay. And I'm just going to leave that there. There are some important things that we need to do as a culture, but they're very, 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 very influenced by how you think and how you act. And what you behold is what you become. And that's Big Crave's final touch on that. Your words, AK, and then we're going to some little housekeeping and we keep it.
um my final words would be just to remember that legacy isn't about how many people know your name.
Mm, it's good.
It's measured by how many people do something differently because your name existed.
Yes. Yes.
So that's where I would leave that.
Yes. Yes. Definitely leave that. We want to definitely shout out Miss Lady
Yes.
for working so hard in the stays in verse. Guys, I must say, one of the hard, I believe uh, that you and her are very hardworking individuals, and the legacy that you guys, Miss Lady and you, AK, are going to leave is going to be for eons, eternity. They're going to go to some kind of archival record and look up things about you two and what the work you put in. It's going to be phenomenal. And I'm going to be in the same class too. But
Yeah, I was just
I
about
have
to
to
say
say,
that.
yeah,
Get
I
yourself
no, I have to see. I have to exhort first. I have to, I have to show love. That's just me. I just show
I
love.
know.
But I want to know. I want to make sure that it's known on record that I realize the hard work that you guys do, especially for bringing this and the ideas that's coming and what's coming, you guys. Oh, y'all stay tuned. Some beautiful things are coming. They are coming for you, man. I think, AK, you're going to give the announcements, and then we will definitely be ready to move on. Uh, you can
Yes.
talk about what I can talk about mine. I can talk about mine. Well, wait. Well, let me get mine out of the way. So
Okay.
you know I'm here. You know I'm here every Sunday, unless something happens. Every Sunday I'm here. And Afterglow Sundays, Crossfade Current. You know what I'm saying? Stays in word. I'm going to be here every Sunday, 12 noon Eastern, 11 a.m. Central. I'll be here every second and fourth Thursday of the month. I am on Love and Lyrics. I am on Love and Lyrics. Y'all, is one of the dopest houses on
Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. I am in that with the next move,
Mm,
and I'm your host. The next move is actually the next move, but you don't know the next move until you come experience the next move. That's all I'm gonna say about that. But it's every second and fourth Thursdays of the month, 6 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Central. And
yes.
every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I'm here on the app in Prophetic Inspirations. You can find me there. Great space to be in. AK, you can take it from there.
On Tuesdays, you can find us on Instagram Live. Myself, Miss Kim,
Yeah.
Mosby Summers, with them dope poets, Word Up Sessions. That's at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, where we do a three-way cipher with three amazing poets. This coming up week, we have Brent Etter,
Mm,
amazing slam poet, amazing music artist. We have Meet Spady, who has been taking poetry by storm as well. And then we also have someone who is very known to a lot of us, from Clubhouse to Instagram to being in person, Frequency. So definitely come through. These kings are going to give you that raw realness. It's going to definitely be a vibe. We're not there for a long time, so make sure you own time.
make sure you're
Um,
on time. Very important. It's very, it's very important.
Very important, very important.
Be on time, Jack.
Be on time.
Yes, sir.
Um Wednesdays, tap in with Miss Lady and Russ Livingston,
Hmm.
for Wounded Healers Poets Brigade, and they do the workshop on Wednesdays, and then on Saturdays they do Empathy Saves Species.
Hmm.
Um
Great room.
Great room. And Saturdays, so Wednesdays, let me back up. Wednesdays is at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern. Come through, write with them, workshop your pieces. Um, they break them down. They break them down,
Mhm.
um, to to get an understanding of what you know you're trying to say to the people, and the meaning behind your poem. It's a phenomenal space. And on Saturdays, come write with them and share. That's at 9 a.m. Central, 10 a.m. Eastern. Um, as far as myself, I do Pen and Sword, which is on Zoom. It's an open mic feature. Um, I haven't decided who I'm going to be featuring for August, but that's every third Wednesday of the month. So
Hmm.
it'll be August 20th, I believe. For the next one, that's normally at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. It's an open mic for everyone. It's through Tesoro, which is a phenomenal writing group that we have with the beautiful Miss Stacy Dyson. Um, also, I am doing something new with Love and Lyrics. Um, I am going
Mm,
to be presenting, and I already started. So please look out for the Creative Shelf. What the
creative
Creative
shit.
Shelf is, it's a Love and Lyrics community series where so let me be brief.
Go ahead.
This
Take your time.
this is something that was put on my heart because so many poets that I've come across, including myself, including some others, are going through so much financially,
Mm,
and
mm,
we got work out there, we got products out there, we got merch out there. And I know a lot of people hate just donating. So what better way to support than to purchase their items, purchase their books, purchase their merch? That's still helping them, that's still
mm-hmm,
putting money into their product, as
mm-hmm.
well as helping boost what they have going on. So you're serving two purposes. So the
Fact.
Creative Shelf is going to shine light, not just poetry, but shine light on what you as a person have going on outside of poetry. What, and it could be poetry. If you have books, merch, workshops, I am looking for you. Hit me up on Instagram, love underscore the letter N lyrics. Hit me up on Instagram. Let's chat. Um, I've already put my first person up, which is China Bloodmeyer. She has
Mm-hmm.
some books out there right now. They are um, discounted because she's trying to recoup from having her book stolen at a show.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Lord have
somebody
mercy.
stole all her books and part of her, some other things, personal things. So she's trying to recoup and put those finances back in her pocket. So purchase her
Mm,
books.
yeah,
Purchase her books.
thank you.
Um, so she is my first artist up right now, China Bloodmeyer. I already put the post up. Go on my Instagram, blow that post up, share it. Even if you can't financially do anything, sharing is caring, y'all. This is how we build community. Sharing is caring. Comment on it. Share it on your stories. You don't have to repost it if you don't want to, but share it in your stories. Share it to someone else who may be interested. She does a lot of fantasy like storytelling and poetry.
Mm,
So if you're into all the witchery and fantasy, she's your girl.
cool. I got to segue in here too and say, coming from Stays in Verse, I'll
Mhm.
be having something, presenting something called After the Applause,
Ooh,
Men Without Witnesses. And this will be starting in August. It's under the Stays in Verse. Definitely, but
yes,
it'll be starting in August, and so stay tuned with that. Also, we invite you to join us on the school app.
yes. I was going there. Yes,
Yeah, we don't
join
definitely
us on
want
the
to
school
make
app.
sure you join us on the school app because everything is stays in here. Everything is, what we do. This is what we do here.
And you'll also find all the other things that we got going on over there: classroom work, daily,
Yes,
weekly prompts. There's so much over there, so much information that Miss Lady has put over there
yes, yeah.
for you. But guess what? You got to be a part of it
You got to be a part of the
in
school app
order
to
to get
do it.
it. Because
Yes,
outside of the app, you don't get
you
it.
won't get this. I can assure you, we're getting ready to shut it down, but I can assure you that if you go over on the school app and follow this stays in verse, I promise you, you'll find something enlightening. Okay,
Yeah,
so
definitely,
with that, we love you,
definitely.
man. We definitely love you. We definitely thank you for being with us today. What is this? This is Afterglow Sundays. I
Afterglow
am your host,
Sundays.
Big Crave, along
Oh,
with AK Southern
guess
Soul.
guess what? You know what we forgot?
What we forget?
The switch next month.
Oh, yes.
Next month, we're going to be bringing in people as guests.
We got something very beautiful coming
Yes,
next month. Stay tuned. Afterglow
and
Sundays,
a new
something new.
face.
But we ain't gonna give it to him. Shh, 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 shh. Let him. Shh, shh, shh.
Got to come back.
You got to come back and see it. All right. This is your host, Big Crave, man. We love you, man. Have a great day. Have a great week. Remember, man, stay. You are your own voice, verse, and witness. Big Crave, and we out, man. Peace. And love is love.
Verse, voice, and witness. Another Stays In production. Leave with your name, live.